Kia ora. I am going to be presenting a spoken word tonight that I wrote a few years ago, and you're actually my first audience that I'm doing it to, so bear with me, but yeah. So growing up, my mother always told me my whakapapa traced back to a colony of albatross. Sitting watching the birds, she'd tell me stories about precious eggs delicately enduring the clumsiness of a webbed foot and prevailing winds. Glancing down, my arms would transform into wings, 3 joints locked and loaded, as if all that I needed was a strong gust of wind and I'd find myself defying gravity. Sitting in the presence of an albatross touches you with a feeling so profound it can only be described as spiritual. It's taken years, but as I reflect, I realise my emotional connection to these birds make up the core of my being. I hear the sound of feathers rustling overhead and my soul exhales. Maybe Mum was right. With our world plagued with burdens and war, one must question why albatross are here. To bestow peace amongst those they soar over? To simply traverse the ocean and gorge on squid? Must we make them choose? Sometimes an albatross is just a bird. But as I watch them, I can't help but feel that they hold the answers to so many of the global issues that have turned me into an insomniac. And as night encloses around our boat, 24 years of imagination and interpretation merge into one. To a young albatross, the ocean is a tantalising promise of adventure. Fully grown, the sound of the waves crashing against the rocks gets louder, watery horizon line longer, drawing its itchy feet to the cliff. Stepping off, it takes its first flight, drawn like a moth to a lamp to the blue turmoil. No second thought, no sentiment. Traversing the turbulence, it stills, surrendering to the updraft. Control has no place in an albatross's vocabulary. Surrendering, freedom finds its place. For years, the albatross races the wind to the horizon, constantly going somewhere, only to end up nowhere. One must question its motives. Understand the great lengths it goes to avoid land in pursuit of isolation that is slowly fading as the human race swells. Poetry in motion, it tames the wild conditions of the south. Uninterrupted beauty in its purest form because no one is here to see. Bobbing on the surface, it picks up the dead and dying and gives them wings. What is it? Angelic. An ancient mariner's last hope amongst the rough seas. Generosity that is used up and shot down with a crossbow. Expendable innocence that is transformed into a feathered corpse, the perfect metaphor for the state of today's world. The perils of the albatross's journey have grown and evolved for hundreds of years. Occasionally, certain triggers pull it out of its trance. A lone plastic bottle, the sound of fish suffocating on oxygen, and all at once the horrors endured by its ancestors rain down from the sky and flood the ocean. Gasping and drenched, it accepts its fate as the carrier of burdens. You say that you have an albatross around your neck. Well, this albatross is bogged down by humans, and it's about time that it testified to project some of its experiences on us. On our first day of school, we were holding the hand of our parents, and in the meantime, this albatross was flying the equivalent of 3 times around the equator in search of food. As it was caring for its ever-hungry chick, we were fed the fiction that the bounty of our oceans was limitless. It remembers what the ocean like before it was filled with bottle caps and toothbrushes, before boats with long lines laced its feeding grounds with hundreds and thousands of confusing hooks. Yet still, it chooses to forgive us and hope that tomorrow we advance compassion and forget our appetites. That somehow we will withdraw our efforts in trying to tame the ocean and let it be as it has always been, wild. Thank you.